showing you how you can use Smart Chat, how you can use AI, specifically our tool, to answer security questionnaires, which are not the most fun you can have. And so it just takes it from a very effortful, challenging process to quick, easy, painless. And I think especially for those of us who are not actually security professionals, um, really gives access to a language we wouldn't otherwise have. And so I'll just wait like a minute or two for folks to show up. But as you do, yeah, let us know what you're hoping to get out of this webinar. And as we go, any questions that you have about about Storytell, about AI. Also curious to know, like, how are you using AI tools right now? So I'm just going to pull up a few things that we'll be using. And yeah, really excited to dive in. And Angela, I'm thinking that, great, we could take you off of the video here because I see the Storytell logo or part of it. Or maybe that's because, that's me, that's user error. I will hide non-video participants. There we go. Okay, so never mind. And I think that we'll just go ahead and get started. All right. So what is Storytell? So lots of AI tools in the world, and how is Storytell different, and how do we define ourselves? So the whole vision behind Storytell, oh, wait, who am I? Right, you can see it here. So Erica Anderson, I'm co-founder and chief customer officer of Storytell. And so the reason that I co-founded this company is because we live in such a noisy world, right? We're just like bombarded with notifications all the time. And how do we make sense of it? Because if we can make sense of our days, we can make sense of our lives. And so we're bringing this whole distilling signal from noise, distill AI in a world of AI content generation. And specifically today, what we're going to look at, and I'm getting over a cold, so I've got a little cough. I'll even protect you through the screen from my cough by doing the Dracula. Is how you can use Smart Chat to answer vendor security questionnaires. And so let's just step back before we go into that use case. So what is Storytell? Why we've gotten to why do we exist, but what are we? So Storytell is a B2B AI platform, and it is here to help you make sense of your world, of both your structured and unstructured data. And not just like, oh, great, you understand your data. No, now you know how to take action on them. And so some things that are special about Storytell, one, so you have the opportunity to chat with the world's knowledge with what large language models are trained on. But the real purpose behind our platform is to align your, well, to interact with your data. I was getting to the third bullet point and cut myself off, so I'm coming back to the first one. And so you're actually really sizing down or sizing up the data set that you want to interact with. And whereas, for most of our lives, data sets or information or text has essentially been dormant or inert, it's like dead, we actually make it come alive by chatting with it, creating new content from it, analyzing it, getting actionable insights. Okay, trusting the results. So I think something that we all noticed and starting to play around with AI is It always wants to give you an answer. It's a very eager to please machine. Okay, tea break. And and that means that it's going to give you answers even when it doesn't have one. And that simply doesn't work for us. So we created an algorithm that delivers footnotes. So you've got inline citations, so you can see, wait, where did this come from? So you're inspecting like the source of truth. How did the AI come up with this answer? De-siloing knowledge. So I was so excited about this one. I want to jump into it first. And so what happens in organizations, they don't even have to be very large. As we specialize, um, we don't have access to the same sorts of truth. And access becomes an issue. Like, I don't know if you've ever found yourself always asking for access to information from other people in your organization. And maybe you're all working on a customer account, and especially if you're a sales lead, which is who we're really offering this webinar for. It's for anyone who wants to be here. But um, everyone who's touching that customer account in some way needs to have access to the same information. And sure, maybe you have recordings in Gong or Zoom, but if people don't know where they are, it's the same as not having access. And using Storytell, you can all have access to the same information, be able to query it quickly with AI. All right. So, this is where you find out that I make beautiful Venn diagrams, and yeah, Pixar, if you're watching, this one's for you. So, the whole point of this slide, and this actually might be our last slide or penultimate slide, so not a lot of slides here. I want to dive right in. Um, is to show you how we're organizing information within this version of Storytell. Do note that we've got another version of Storytell on the way, so we'll be doing it a little bit differently. But right now, okay, so let's say you're uploading a file. In this case, this is one of the files we uploaded. There's a fictional persona we created, Ethan Harper. There's a sales lead at Graph 8 Technologies, and to fill out a security questionnaire, you have to know what your policies are. And so we've uploaded this file. Whoop, go back. There's Ethan. What's up, Ethan? It's not a real person. And so we've uploaded this file and then given it a tag. And so tags are a way to organize information. You can think of it as a folder. It was a bit of a loose term, a folder, because the same content can be in multiple folders, which we're calling tags. So for instance, this could have another tag of just incident response plan. But we've put it in our SOC 2 policies, the whole, journey of becoming SOC 2 compliant. However, it's not GDPR related, so it's not in the GDPR policies, but it is overall part of our security policy. So it's belonging to that. And then, in this whole scenario, because of course, I'm not going to be showing you our incident response plan right now, or companies that are sending us vendor questionnaires. Hence, we have these placeholders. And so Acme of Looney Tunes fame, being the company that has sent us the vendor questionnaire, we're going through the procurement process with them, right? And so getting the vendor questionnaire is part of it. And so any research I'm doing about Acme, information I want to have about them, I would tag with Acme, but Acme is not part of our security policy, so I wouldn't include it in that group. And I'll just have a look here. Yes, would love to know where everyone's joining from. And sorry, I will have to be taking little tea breaks. This is probably the most I've talked this week. Okay. So, I look a lot like Ethan, right? So we use fictional personas for these demos so that you can see how would you work with this. And Angela, if you haven't already dropped the workspace into chat, please do so. And we'll see. I might have to have Angela come in and speak. So first, I just want to orient us on the Storytell website. So this is coming soon. It's about removing PII. And then this is just what I showed you about a group and then tags within that group. And then these are the story tiles, which are the footnotes I was sharing. Okay, so now I'm going to go into the dashboard and you can use different models. And so orienting you here. So now we are inside the machine. And so this is going to bring me back to my dashboard. Right now we're in Smart Chat, right? This little chat bubble. And then this folder icon is going to take me to my content manager. So I've got the groups, the tags, all my knowledge here. And we'll come back to all my knowledge in a moment. And then let's say that you are signing up with your Nike email address. You work at Nike. And when you click on this, it's going to take you to your organizational view. So everything that anyone has set to either anyone with a link or only my org will have access to this data. If you just want something to only be accessible to you, then you would choose just me. This happens to all have been like public data, so it's fine. But obviously, if you're uploading your security policies, you're probably going to do only my org. And want to go back to one thing because it's sometimes a little confusing. World's knowledge versus all my knowledge. What is that about? So when you're using world's knowledge, essentially it's just ChatGPT, right? And you can use OpenAI, Anthropic. We've got Google options on the way. And whereas all my knowledge, this is content that you have uploaded and that you are interacting with to learn more from. So please, if you have questions, I am sure you do, you think something could be different or better, like bring it on, bring on the feedback. We love it. One of our values at Storytell is that our truth comes from our users. So guess what? That's y'all. And if you don't have a Storytell account, go ahead and create one so that you can chat with what we'll be chatting with during this call. Okay, so we've got security policies, as you can see, just like I showed you in the slide. This is what is in that. And if you're like, wait, what's inside? You know, what is in Graphite SOC 2 policies? Okay, it's all these different files. You can think of this as your file manager. You can move things around, make it easier to see, and actually view what this is. And if you wanted to add another tag to this, like this is about third-party management, you would do it like so. And then thing is, we did an AI generated tag with that, so I'm not going to recreate that. So let's go ahead and view the source content. So you'd always go back to, what is this? Okay. Great. So the baseline of security controls expects from partners and third-party companies, scope, etc. So, okay, this isn't ideal, but I will just go ahead and for the purposes of creating a tag, third-party management, right? So that's how you create tags. If there was another existing tag that you wanted to search for, you do that here. Otherwise, like, oh, policies and disclosures. Okay, seems like that could fit too, right? So if that is useful to you, you can go ahead and do it. If you're like, actually, I don't want this content in here, you just go ahead and delete. I'm not going to do that because I do want this content in here. You can also chat directly with this content. So I'm probably showing you too many things, so I'm going to bring it down. And this is what we really want to chat with today, because what is the scenario? The scenario is that Acme has sent us a vendor questionnaire. So has anyone here had to fill out a security questionnaire before? And if you have, I would love to know like what your experience was. It's in a whole different language, right? Then just like there's legalese, there's securityese, right? It's very technical. So those of us who are running a sales process or procurement, I'm in that role. as CCO at Storytell, it's just not language I'm used to working in. And as you may have noticed with like translation, etc., AI can make whole worlds open up to us that are otherwise completely walled off. Okay, so what are we going to do here? So so much about how you interact with AI has to do with the questions that you ask, prompt engineering. And the beautiful thing about a security questionnaire is they already gave you the questions. And so what am I doing here? Within SOC 2 policies, I've uploaded to this tag all the policies of my company, in this case, Graphite Technologies. And so I'm going to go here and get my questions, right? So what my prompts are essentially these questions, so I already answered the first one. So I just copy the question, come back here, drop the question, and put it in here. And as you can see, you can evaluate the response. When you hover down here, you can copy it, download as a PDF. Or if you don't want to look at the story tiles, you can choose Markdown. So I'll come back to that. So why are there story tiles? So these are the footnotes that I was referring to. And in about a moment, there we go. It's showing up and letting me know where did it get this information from. So just hoping that is helpful. And again, if you haven't let us know where you're joining from, please do what it is you would like out of this. And Angela, if you could drop that poll in here again, that would also be awesome. Okay. So for instance, what would I do with this? I'm actually going to open up my drive here and show you what's going on. So often, even though we live in the modern day and age, this is what a security questionnaire can look like. So in terms of going and answering these, I don't have to look through all this. So yeah, here's our poll. So just let us know what it is that you're wanting to learn and can shape this a bit in your direction. And just we really want to hear from you. That's the whole deal of these webinars, show you one way to use Storytell and then learn. So I'm just gonna close this. And okay, so let's say I need to get back to Acme today, or probably what's gonna happen here is I am drafting all the responses, and then I'm gonna send it over to our technical team. So that could be the CTO, whoever is really running security and compliance, to make sure that all of the answers are accurate. So this is what a lot of people do, right? Because I think the hover is just not totally clear, but you just go here and copy, and it won't copy the numbers. So that's another thing you get out of it. And go ahead and drop it in, right? And so there you go. You got your response. And dropped in the next question. So you're about to see a lot of this. So again, super curious to know what is it about this process? Let's see. Is that the next question? Make sure, do you conduct pen tests? And let's see. So I'm just going to see, where is pen tests? Penetration test. There we go, right here. Right? So I could honestly just go through question by question from this. SaaS only. So for instance, like, yeah, Storytell is a software as a service. And how would these policies answer this question? And just so you know, we have used this for security questionnaires multiple times now. And I mean, whether you're using AI or not, you do need the technical folks on your team to double check your responses. And in either case, there'll probably be a few modifications. But something really different about this is um, the thoroughness of the response, and it's coming again from your data set. So I just can't stress that enough. I think sometimes it's a little hard to get because it's like, oh, I'm looking at this tag here. Whenever you're working with a tag, you're chatting with all my knowledge. Um, and whereas if there's no tag selected, then it's a toggle here. So it's either all my knowledge or the world's knowledge. So you could be talking to everything you've uploaded at once. Usually if you want a specific response, just talking to that particular document or to the tag that relates to what you're trying to find out is the best way to go about it. And as you can see here, so I'd copied this one over, right? Um, and oh wait, I think I copied that question. Yep, right. And then you'll see no story tiles. So and there are no footnotes, no citations. So just using the copy function there makes it clean. And also I can resize this. I'm like, I really need to look into these story tiles. Could move it around. So happens, I'm going to close that and grab the next question. Right. And then Angela, if you haven't already shared in chat, the smart chat for this, please go ahead and do so. So all you have to do to follow along is to create a Storytell account. And because we have made all the content here accessible to anyone with the link, I'll just go back and show that again. So these green buttons, you can, chat with anything that we've uploaded, but the tag that we're interested in is this one, right? And this is one way to get back to it. Now, if you wanted to upload something else, I don't think you can upload something to a tag I've created, but when you're uploading, this is what that looks like. File from your computer, text, web, YouTube, Zoom recording, or we also, Angela, if you could just drop in about a Chrome extension. We also have a Chrome extension. So let's say, for instance, GDPR policies. Like, you know what? I just have one item around that because we haven't gone through GDPR yet or gotten that certification. So I was doing an initial look and just learning about GDPR. But let's say this, I want to know more about it. So I'm going to go, I have to move my face around. So I'm just going to start researching about it. Right, great. So I've got the official legal text from the EU. And so what I'm going to do is right here, I've got the Chrome extension, and it is going to grab this content. As we think of story tiles as like the atomic unit of content. And so we break everything down in story tiles, and that's why they function as footnotes. It's this path back to what we've broken down. So you can always, as you see here, there's a summary, has the key concepts, and then we even have a prompt library here. So you could like create something from this. So it happens, it's not what I'm going to do right now. Also so happens that I am signed in to the Chrome extension through my Storytell account with my name, Erica Anderson, not Ethan Harper. So you're not going to see it in my Storytell account. But if I were signed in, so they have to have the same login, but whatever I open, so right now this is open, if I go like that, it's closed, right? And you just see it hovering here. So if you want to summarize something, just open it up. And when you summarize, it will bring that content into your smart chat. So I'm just going to grab this another way. And so I have the web page, and I'll just go back here. I'm going to upload knowledge and just add this. And Great, it's already got that tag. And so if I wanted to add another tag, like official EU, same on brand here with my tea mug. Um, Policy. I don't think that's a super helpful tag, but just want to show you you could add tags right here. And I'll hit done. Sorry about that. Okay. Um, so just wanted you to know we've got a Chrome extension. There's other ways that you can add content here. Great. Thank you, Angela. Awesome. We're a team here trying to support you and using AI. So yeah, we'd love to know, do you have a Storytell account? How are you using Storytell? How would you like to use it? And I'm just going to go back to what's at hand. Okay, so let's see what happened. I selected multiple tags, GDPR and graphite. So happens these also belong to a group, but you can just select more and more tags, right? So it could do this and this. And then we've got a question library here. So what is it that we can learn from all of this? Well, if you don't even know where to start, you just ask AI, what should I ask? And so this is landed here, and I can hit that, or I can hit enter. Okay. Great. So what's the purpose? Thank you, Angela. Yes, we like to say your feedback is fire. It's not just a gift, it's fire. That's like what helps us. It's something to really engage with, right? Um, so here we go. So this might be something that I'd be interested in knowing. So you could go ahead and ask that question. And then if you want to, okay, here we go. So how does it ensure protection of personal information and individual privacy? So background verification checks and classifying data based on sensitivity, data management policy, okay, and access control policy. And then we're getting that, concluding paragraph here. And I can say, yeah, I think that was a great response. I don't do this too much because I want most of the responses here to be coming from users. And then if you want just a little bit clearer formatting, you can choose Markdown either there or here, right? So in Markdown, and that's just a formatting language to make it look cleaner. So for instance, if let's say, okay, we've got all these tags open. Actually, I want to clear the deck, go back to all my knowledge, and then you can choose a new tag. So if we go back to our SOC 2 policies, you can also ask, if we're just trying to understand our policies, you can ask a different kind of question. And you can ask for different kinds of formats. So just think of AI as like a eager intern who wants to fulfill your request, but it needs some guidance. So one, how are we guiding? We've uploaded the content it needs to know, and we're asking specific questions about it, right? Versus if you just ask, world's knowledge, write me a blog, like that's just going to be, that's pretty vague. Like, who is the blog for? Just like if a person were actually writing the blog, what's the purpose of the blog? What's the audience? What's the tone? What's the length, etc. So for instance, I create a table showing the top 10 SOC 2 policies, naming them in the first column, describing them in the second column, and explaining why they matter in the third column. So this should work, and here we go. So we've got the SOC 2 policy, access control, description, controls and restrictions on access to systems and data. And we were just reading about that, right, in the previous response. And why does this matter? So it ensures that only authorized individuals have access to sensitive information, reducing the risk of unauthorized access and data breaches. So this is going to be really important to customers, right? That they understand how all of this works. And then we get this at the bottom of the overall, like why do these policies matter? Now, how is it that we can see these? Because we are in Markdown. So if we turn it off, then it looks like this. So you're like, give me a table. And you're like, wait a minute, that's not really a lot like a table. So the way to go back to it, you can choose Markdown, or you can go back to plain text here or up here. So you've got options. Okay, I'm just gonna jump back to these questions here because like, where do you want to end up? How many questions are there often on a security questionnaire? Like often closer, 70 to 100. And so this is a way when you have access to the policies and you just don't necessarily have access to all the language and comprehension, but AI can help you parse that. Okay, so we'll do one more question here. And we'll go back here and ask. Now, something to keep in mind. So we'll start here and then I'll give you my caveat. So are all identified security contractual and regulatory requirements for customer access contractually addressed and remediated prior to granting customers access to data, assets, and information systems? So there's a lot of yeses here, right? And so it's like how we maybe learn to write essays. Like, here's the question. Okay, respond to the question in that first sentence. So this is a bit of the formatting we're getting. And this part of how we're using the LLM here is like to format the language. And then here's what graphite technology does, and here's how that helps. So something to keep in mind is that so if you're talking with the graphite SOC 2 policies and there's a question in here that is not answered by the policies, there's just like not going to be an answer. Or it could have the eagerness of trying to give you an answer, and that's why your technical folks are going to need to review this. But think of how different it is for them to review something that's, 77 questions long and it's already filled out. And all they have to do is say, yes, 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 tweak this. But like largely they're just giving it a green light as opposed to, oh, I have to start from scratch. And then what does that do to your sales process, your procurement process? When you're just knocking on your CTO's door every day saying, hey, where is that? So yeah, would love to field any questions. How are you trying to use Storytell? What is it that would be helpful for you right now? And I think I did not copy this. I'm just going to come back, copy, and then drop it in so I can make my CTO happy and also make my customer happy because they want to use our product, right? But they just have to verify that our systems are working properly. So this is really what I wanted to show is this capacity of deeply understanding the data you already have and using that to power your workflows. So I'm just gonna leave a few moments here for questions and also feedback. What would you like webinars about? What are your use cases? What questions do you have for me about Storytell? and how are you using AI? So those are all super interesting areas to explore, and I'm sure there's more, but that's what comes to mind right now. And I think just dropping back here. So we just got to spend, 25 minutes with Ethan Harper. And yeah, you can use this QR code as another way to share feedback. And then there's Drodio, our CEO, has opened up his calendar. So if you want to chat with him about your use case, you're also welcome to chat with me. So I'll just drop my calendar link here and chat. And you could speak right now if you want. So all kinds of options. As you can see, we're super committed to not just AI education, but also learning from our users. And I think, part of what our awareness belief is that obviously AI is here to stay, and and it is what is powering knowledge workers to be more effective. And maybe you're experiencing that already, but we really want to help you be effective in your workflows, because I think over the next probably 5 and definitely 10 years, folks who are not using AI in their knowledge work are going to be left behind in some ways. And like there's just no reason to have that happen to you. So just encouraging all of you to use AI, whether it's our tool or other tools, and also would love to learn from you. How are you using it and what do you want to accomplish? Because it's really all about the outcomes, right? Like we're talking about security questionnaire, and yeah, what do we want? We want to bring a customer on and want to lower the barriers to bringing them on. So I hope this was helpful for you. Always fun to be talking to y'all, and just sharing the many, many, many ways folks are using Storytell so that those learnings get out into the world and you can use it that way too. Yeah, would love to hear from you. Thank you so